LATD Nation, welcome back to the channel. Man, we got a special review for y'all today.
Long awaited. Like, this really is kind of a full circle moment for us because this is one of the main things that we kind of started our content around.
Yeah. Yep. The Boys, Season 5, Series Finale.
Yes, sir. The very last episode of the now legendary show that has pretty much defined internet culture for the last, I would say, how long has it been? 7 years?
7 years, yeah, 2019.
Yeah. A show that has been in constant conversation, both, critically, commercially, really has made a very considerable impact on pop culture, especially Homelander.
Right.
Well, I believe will go down as one of the greatest villains of all time.
I agree. He should. He definitely should.
Anthony Starr, generational performance, gave us meme after meme after meme after meme.
It was perfect.
Literally.
Perfect. Down to the last minute detail.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. But real quick, let's get into your thoughts on the episode as a whole.
My thoughts was it was serviceable.
Yeah.
First of all, it was only an hour long, which I think was a mistake personally.
I agree.
Because I think that we should have, especially for how much was introduced, as we said in our previous reviews, for how much was introduced with this season, and really just the story as a whole, I really do think that it was a mistake to not do more as far as having a proper series finale in the sense of like all loose ends get tied up. It feels like they kind of sort of said, it's almost like, and like I told you, it's almost like somebody tapped them on the shoulder and said, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because it feels very rushed.
It do. I also agree that it was serviceable. I actually enjoyed the episode a lot more than I feel like a lot of other people did.
I would agree. Me too.
It's like overall, it was still a good episode, but for it to be the series finale, I think it should have been a little bit longer too.
Should have been more grandiose, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I know people were upset that Maeve didn't come back, but I wasn't really upset by that because
I wasn't really. Maybe to a degree.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting her to come back though. Because it's like her arc was already done. She lost her powers in season 3, episode 8. Like, she finally got her redemption that she wanted. She got the life that she wanted. There's no point in really bringing her back just to fight.
Her career was over. Her career ended the right way. So
exactly. The biggest disappointment I'll say about this season as well as this episode as a whole was really just the fact that they didn't use the Gen V characters at all.
Yeah.
Like, they were just there for a couple of scenes, like,
Emma was there at the very end. Jordan was there. Marie was there.
And that was it.
And it's really crazy.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What's crazy is that, especially the end of season 2 of Gen V, where they kind of introduced Marie as being potentially the most powerful suit, able to bring people back to life, and they didn't do that. They didn't use that. And what's crazy about that is that they canceled Gen V. So that story arc is pretty much unresolved. It's done.
Exactly. And that's part of the reason why I wasn't tripping when Frenchie died at first, because I thought Marie was just going to come through and just save his life. But no.
And Marie is in the episode. Make no mistake. Marie is there.
And it's just like, but that's why I wasn't too sad about Frenchie dying. That's why because I was really hoping for that. But nah, my arrogance got the best of me.
Sam wasn't even there.
Kate wasn't there either. Like, none of them were there other than just the main trio.
Yeah,
we don't even
which
see.
Is crazy.
I understand they were probably like
they didn't really resolve Jordan and Marie's story. We don't know how that's gonna get I just don't understand why they did that. Like,
I don't know why they canceled. Well, I think I know why, but because of Vought Rising, but. They shouldn't.
We could have still had Vought Rising and Gen V.
Yeah, they couldn't. They shouldn't have canceled Gen V season 3. We probably would have got their whole story arcs resolved, and that's the biggest thing. But that's the biggest disappointment with this episode. But I did like though when we got to see Homelander depowered.
Of course,
because whenever he was trying to fly away, use his heat vision and all, it was easily one of the best parts of the episode, and
easily one of the best scenes in the entire series.
Yeah, it's just seeing him beg for his life in the way that he did.
Yeah,
I'm just like, man, this man really is pathetic. Been saying this. Homelander ain't nothing without them powers.
Exactly.
Like, after rewatching the show, I'm like, dog, if you didn't have those powers, bro, you would not be talking this smooth and this threatening to all these people.
He been talking crazy the whole show.
And this like and this is it. And keep in mind, when he has his powers, he has a big, strong, low pitched, masculine voice. And then once he gets depowered and gets beaten down by Butcher,
he turns into like the scared little kid.
Exactly. And his voice just goes high like this, and you can't do this to me. I'm Homelander. Yeah.
Thanks.
There's just no, don't do it. I'll turn any shapeshifter into Becca. I'm like, no, just take it. Go ahead, bro. Take your L. Take your L. You deserve this. As much as you've done to other people, you deserve this.
Yeah.
And that was easily one of my favorites. Same thing with Deep.
Oh, for sure.
His demise as well.
They told him about himself.
Yeah, and I felt a little bad for the Deep, just a little bit, like minuscule bad, like atomized.
Same
upon atomized bad for Deep.
Yeah, but he had so many chances to walk away and even be redeemed, but he didn't want to take that.
Right. He kept seeing Homelander after Homelander like ousted him. And just
told him about himself.
Yeah, like he's still thinking that him fighting Starlight or the boys showing up is his test to get back in the good graces of Homelander. When we already know he's terrified.
Yeah,
man. I was happy to see his demise as well. But
I agree. I definitely do agree with that. It was a long time coming. So the stuff that happens in this episode is good. Don't get that misconstrued. There just should have been more to it. I would have rather seen the Gen V cast show up and they all kind of get a licking on Homelander too, you know? Mm-hmm. Get their story arcs kind of resolved and sort of them getting to do more when it came to the through line. I would have liked to have seen more about how, because
Marie?
Not even Marie. Ashley. I would like to see more Ashley, her getting impeached and the fallout of the world and how the world has reacted to now seeing that Homelander was never who they all thought he was. I would have liked to have just seen them just do more. But what's done is good. Because I will say how they handle Homelander, that was perfect.
I agree.
We finally get to see Homelander for who it reminds me of the end of Attack on Titan. When Aaron, did you watch the end? Okay, yeah. It reminds me of the end of Attack on Titan when Aaron and Armin are having that conversation, and Aaron pretty much reveals who he's been the entire time. He's never been this stone cold, very calculated, menacing individual that he's been portraying himself since he became a villain. He's always been just this scared kid.
Yeah.
Who's been powerless to really do nothing. But he's become sort of this villain and this sort of persona and this archetype. Same thing with Homelander. When we finally get Homelander peeled back from all the layers of being this superpowered individual, this is just a scared little kid.
Yeah. Yeah, like speaking of that, why did Aaron do all the stuff he did?
For the sake of his friends. He wiped out everybody in the world that had any kind of hatred to Eldians so his friends could live.
Oh, okay, so he wanted to put himself like on the front lines essentially.
He wiped out everybody that was an inherent threat to the Eldians, his people, so Mikasa and John and Armin and them could live their lives.
Right, and then him being a scared little kid was just the result of that.
Aaron, because at the end, Aaron, of course, he treated Mikasa the way he did, but in reality, he did love Mikasa and he wanted to be with her. But he put up this front so he could be, I guess, the hero to them. He's a hero to a degree to them because they know what he did for them, but he's a monster to the rest of the world. Yeah. And he even admitted to Armin that he did love Mikasa. He didn't want Mikasa to move on and find somebody else. But at the same time, he still wanted his people to live. So
right,
that's why.
So he just pretty much put the target on his back.
Yeah.
So okay, that's cool. But unlike Homelander was always the target.
Oh, for sure.
Homelander was always the one who pretty much made the world the way that it was. Like you could argue that Edgar was too, but if it wasn't for Homelander and all of his ways, I mean, he is the face of Vought, the face of the franchise essentially. The anti-LeBron James. Like
easily.
He's just like he's always been the one that people wanted to either be like or wanted to kill.
Yeah.
Especially the
He puts
latter.
everything in motion.
Exactly. And that's why it's good to see a character like this get his just due.
It's about time.
It was about time. It was a really satisfying ending. Now, however, I feel like Butcher's ending was.
I was just about to. How do you feel about Butcher's ending?
I thought it was good, but I wish it was more not cataclysmic, but I wish some of his plan would have carried out in a way. I almost wish this was like a 2-parter.
Exactly.
Rather than just a simple hour and however long minute episode. But I wanted this to be a 2-parter to see the first part getting at Homeland and the second part seeing Butcher after everything that's happened. Ryan rejects him, but Terror, his only last tether to the earth, is dead. Yeah. And so I wanted to see him really crash out and kind of go a little crazy. Not like how it was in the comics. Like, I don't want the rest of the boys to die. But I want them to stop him. Wanted them to stop him, essentially.
And pretty much all together, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it would have been more heartfelt if he had died in the presence of all of them, too.
Exactly. Because they understand where he's coming from, but it's like, dude, you about to commit a whole mass genocide just because over one person.
Yeah.
But that's the saddest part about Butcher as well. Like, he's easily the most dangerous character in the show. Oh, yeah. By far. But he's really just carried by grief that he's never had to like deal with before.
He's never healed.
Exactly.
And just like Huey, and I do like the exchange between Huey and Butcher where Huey said, you have a broken heart, but you have a heart.
You're right. He does. And he understands that he does. But as like I guess to him, as far as he's done so much
that he can't come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
is why I always said to you, I didn't see Butcher being alive by the end of the series because even if he survived everything, his whole purpose was to kill Homelander. He wasn't living for anything. He was surviving to destroy Homelander, but he wasn't living for nothing.
Well, exactly. But I also say that if he at least had like one person to take care of, it would have been Terror. Yeah. Him and Terror would have rode off into the sunset if Terror would have survived. Yeah. They just would have rode off into the sunset. He would have lived his life that way. Lived his life with Terror. Maybe would have moved on with his life potentially. Maybe because he seemed pretty satisfied by the end of it all.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but when they were celebrating,
right? But it's just kind of sucks that it won't be resolved the way that he wants it to. That it wouldn't have been resolved the way that he wanted it to, even though he didn't get a chance to, he didn't release the virus and everything after everything was said and done. He still had Terror, but once that was gone, that's when his whole humanity,
lost everything. That was the last little bit of his humanity, and then Ryan rejected him.
Right, Ryan rejected him. Huey didn't reject him per se, but he knew Huey was moving on with his life with Annie, and he respected that. But Terror, he didn't have Lenny anymore. He didn't have Terror anymore. His father he never had his father. And it's like, that's the saddest part about this character who was just so anchored by revenge to the point where he couldn't see what life could be outside of this. And that's why I say if he never had this whole grudge against Homelander, which don't get me wrong, I completely understand.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
But if he would have like kind of let go and let God, and it says let go and let God, I don't think things would have turned out for him the way that it did. I still think Homelander probably would have had this God complex. I think things still would have went in motion the way that they did for Homelander. So maybe in a way Homelander would have succeeded, or maybe things would have been as they already were. Just Vought being Vought, Seven being Seven, messed up things happen, and then they try to cover it up. That's what I'm starting to think. But also you could say too,
who's to say Homelander wouldn't have eventually reached this conclusion anyways?
Exactly, because he seemed like he was already on this road. So
he was well on his way.
So in a way, it was right that Butcher decided to do something about it, but his intentions were, of course,
his intentions were never pure.
Never. It was always,
and it consumed him to the very, very end.
Now with MM, it was about justice.
Yeah, for sure.
But him, it was.
That's why MM was able to move on because he still had a family. He still had things to look forward to,
and that's why
things that he was fighting for.
Exactly, and Ryan, Him adopting Ryan was easily probably one of the most sensible things, outcomes for Ryan to have. Because
that made perfect sense.
Yeah, because we mentioned that he was easily like the victim in all of this. But I'm glad he finally had like a resurgence, a means to
move forward
and to live.
And be a normal kid too, also, because his powers were gone too. Because we didn't mention Kimiko, the experimentation worked, so she was able to reverse Homelander's powers, take his powers away the same way Soldier Boy was able to do so. So that was fine. Kimiko, she goes on to adopt the dog that her and Frenchie were supposed to adopt. She goes to France. Huey and Annie, they get ready to become parents. MM gets remarried to Janine with Ryan by his side. So it ends. I like where the characters end up. I think where they end up is perfectly fine. But the execution, I feel, could have been better in a lot of places.
Yeah, I agree.
A 2-hour finale would have been perfect for me.
I agree.
I think that would have been much better. I think it would have fleshed it out. Even if this season was a little bit uneven, I feel like a 2-hour series finale would have ironed everything out perfect. Would have been a much better way of finishing things off. Of course, now you got Bot Rising coming out soon, which is a prequel. I'm excited for that next year because Soldier Boy, again, as I've said many times, is my favorite character. So I'm not mad at more Soldier Boy, especially because we get to see how Soldier Boy was back in his quote-unquote glory days. So it's going to be interesting to see what Soldier Boy was in that world, because Soldier Boy was basically the Homelander before Homelander. So it's going to be interesting to see how Soldier Boy went about his role in the world and how he was as the most powerful suit back then. It's going to be very interesting to see how Vought played a role in American life and just the world as a whole before Homelander and everything that would eventually happen. So overall, series finale, I'm going to miss the show. I love this show.
Same.
I think I'm satisfied for the most part where it ended up. Definitely the worst season.
Yeah.
No, that's the worst. I think season 4 is better than 5.
Yeah.
I think 5 definitely is an indication that the show was needing to
go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, for sure.
I see why you say that, but I don't really got much else to say on it.
Honestly, really not. I mean, I think it did what it needed to do. Performances were incredible, of course. Performances were amazing. The way Ashley flipping on Homelander and helping the boys out, and the Deep, as you mentioned, Annie and the Deep fighting, which is kind of a throwback to how things really started with her to begin with. So overall, it was satisfying enough. I like where the characters ended up. I do.
Yeah, same here.
I just wish that there had been a little bit more to it, because there's really not a whole lot to say, because it was very, very straightforward.
Yeah, I agree.
There wasn't as much nuance as there was in previous seasons. There wasn't as much exploration of certain stuff. It just feels like the show kind of became redundant. So they kind of said, no use in kind of rehashing stuff. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the direction I feel they took. Not a horrible way to go, but again, a 2-hour finale definitely would have been better off.
Yeah.
But hey, what can you do? Yeah. I ain't got much else to say.
Same here.
I'm gonna miss the boys, but I'm excited for Vought Rising.
Same.
Very excited. That's probably my most anticipated show that's been announced next year.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, more Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy. Can't be mad at that.
Maybe.
Aya Cox, she's coming back as Stormfront. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, hooray.
Yeah, whoopee.
Yay. But with that being said, man, I've been Jay.
This has been Rodney.
We're LATD. We got more videos coming soon, more content coming soon, vlogs, everything. God bless y'all. Look at the details. Peace.